Yes, it's that time of the week again, folks. It's Friday night on the bus, and of course, you know what that means. It's time to get that Friday feeling, and it's a big one this week. It's a heavyweight contest. It's a slobber knocker, a humdinger. It's our biggest game of the season so far against our main rivals. Let's be honest here. It's a League Cup semi-final against Aberdeen at Hampden. Something's got to give because there has to be a winner on the night. So it's somebody's great domestic start's going to go tomorrow night. Hopefully it won't be
Someone's always got to go.
It does indeed. And as you can see, folks, tonight it's a Friday night. It's back to a Friday night tradition. Heritage on the bus. It is the triple threat, myself, Russell Bhoys, and Liam reunited together to discuss this great game. So, Russell, welcome back to Friday nights. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, all good, mate. The big game's just, I'm just one of those Mavericks now, you know what I mean? It's about the biggest game of the season so far. Semi-final domestically against your biggest rivals. Got to preview that one, you know what I mean?
Oh, aye. It's going to be, as I said, humdinger. And so yeah, won't forget that. And of course, Liam, the wise man of the bus, Canada's favourite Tim. And it wouldn't be a Friday night if you and I were on together. So how are you doing this fine evening, sir?
Doing brilliant, mate. More Halloween's out over here because people tend to take that really seriously. Honestly, non-stop parties for about 2 weeks. Something about Halloween and St. Patrick's Day here. 2 Scottish and an Irish holiday, right? And I just absolutely goes for 2 weeks. Easy. Good parties every night this week and that, and I look forward to it. So let's see if the team can show up tomorrow. And we'll pretend we're Real Madrid. We'll play Aberdeen.
I'm still in my Halloween outfit because obviously, as you can see by my hair growing in, this year went as the wee fella. It's getting closer and closer now.
It's looking good though, to be fair. Before we went live, I did say your hair's looking growing in nicely.
I was looking a bit for a Paul Smith jumper, but I just couldn't find one. But apart from that, the hair, I've still got it perfectly in place.
Looking good. There's a bubble level on that.
No, that's just my forehead for getting bashed in the head by my dad when I was young.
Fuck, forehead, mate. That's a 5-head.
Well, on the subject of hair, you can do all the good stuff. You can like, share, slag the hair, as Russell likes to say. But yes,
or the forehead.
Or the forehead, if you wish. Yes, if you wish. But yeah, do all the good stuff, folks. Helps the channel out massively. Hit that like button. Obviously, helps the old algorithm. Helps the traction on YouTube. Gets us recommended in more people's inboxes on YouTube. Where if they happen to watch Celtic podcasts in the bus, might find a way into their recommended videos. Of course, hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so yet. Hit the bell notification. You'll be reminded when we go live. Get involved in our comment section, as many of you already do. We've got Monty's in tonight. Smell the glove. Pato. Gary Brown is in. Jim C. Ian McIntosh. As I always say, it's all killer, no filler. All the classics are in tonight. And of course, you can share the link of the Bhoys Bus far and wide, whatever social media platform tickles your fancy. And of course, head over to piesports.com and use the code BUS1888. And you can still get 12.5% off your tasty pastry treats. And you might need some treats for tomorrow because what a game we're previewing tonight. Yep, League Cup semi-final. The first bit of silverware of the season. You know, if you want to win the treble, then you know this is a very, very important part of it, and it could be a good launching pad for your season as well. You know, it's nicely positioned just before the Christmas period, but of course we have to get there first to the final. And of course, when the draw was coming along, we saw this coming a mile away. Celtic, of course, drew Aberdeen. Not that I'm saying there's any conspiracy theories going on there. Rangers end up getting Motherwell in the other game. So yes, we have to play the other forum team in the country because as it stands right now, neither team has lost. Obviously, we've lost in Europe, but Aberdeen aren't playing in Europe. But yet we are going toe-to-toe here with Aberdeen to the same record in the league. We even drew with them just a couple of weeks ago. We got a little preview of what Aberdeen are all about. I still maintain my opinion. I've been consistent in this that I wasn't massively bowled over by Aberdeen for all the hype and all the talk about what they've been doing, how realistic they've been. They had a good 10-15 minute period in the second half, and obviously they capitalised on that. Fair play to them. They took advantage when we switched off and we got punished, something we're used to seeing in Europe. But one thing that I did say at the time that did concern me, Russell, is if we've got those little lapses in us, obviously it puts cup games in a different dynamic, because if you make mistakes like that in a knockout game like we're going to be playing tomorrow, then dreams of trebles and doubles could suddenly go out the window. How are you feeling regarding that? Did that wee scare that we got concern you ahead of this one tomorrow for the
concerns are different. I think when it comes down to it, as much as it can always, we look at everything through a Celtic prism, it's very easy to always say, we've had a lapse for that spell, therefore Aberdeen came back in the game. Aberdeen got in at half-time and realised where they'd went wrong and made half-time subs that then influenced outcomes for the said 15, 20-minute spell that led to them getting back level in the game. What it should really be looking at is you're going against an opposition that will adapt to how the game's flowing. Now, I watched obviously the highlights for the Aberdeen Rangers game, and it looks to me like he'll play horses for courses in the sense that yes, they'll have identity, because see every team that wins football matches, right? You'll instantly associate them with having an identity, right? The whole thing's about winning games, right? Because how folk get confused is I seen Aberdeen play two different styles of football against us, right? So it wasn't necessarily this complete, identity, the manager's personality, all that bollocks, right? Basically, all these compliments get lavished out when you're winning or you're not getting beat and you're on good runs of form, right? And it all goes hand in hand with it. What I thought was impressive with them was they've gotten at half-time 2-0 down, and he's came up during that first half with a strategy when he gets them back in at half-time to overcome the deficits that clearly they were facing in that first half. And it took us time to get to grips with those and impose ourselves back in the match, which of course we did. But then that time it took to do that, they'd come up with a new way of playing against us with new personnel that he brought on at halftime that seriously influenced outcomes. That tells you're up against decent opposition. It's so easy to go, Aberdeen weren't great shakes. Well, Aberdeen weren't great shakes in the first half, but it was the same side that came out in that second half with differences made to them that caused us problems. And I think you've got to just pay a wee bit of respect to that as well and go, that's the difference. You don't normally get that. I would dare say a lot of our domestic opposition go in 2-0 and go, we're doing all right, boys. Hey, we're only 2-0 down at half-time. Whereas he's been watching it going, what about if we try this? This guy will work in there against... That's what... He's identifying things to try and then overcome whatever deficiencies he's seen in the first half. And if that means a change of style or personnel, he's willing to do it. And that we might be up against again come tomorrow evening if things are going our way or are not going our way. You've got a manager there who's going to adapt his side to the climate that he's in at that time. That could be they get an early lead and they change slightly. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But from what we've seen so far is we're against a live one. And this won't be the same Aberdeen over 90 minutes. It'll be dependent on where the game's heading to and what direction of travel it's took that we're playing. I think that's refreshing opposition, albeit we hope they have a bad day at the office tomorrow.
And the thing is, well, the dynamic of being a cup game as well. Obviously, what happened 2 weeks ago, they got themselves back in the game. As you say, fair play to them for doing it. They had the bollocks to change it and they got it right. But then they did that whole, they just sat and took the point. But tomorrow, you can't do that because somebody's got to win. It would be crazy to play for penalties because it is literally a lottery. You don't want to be playing for penalty kicks. But Graham Tyrrell comes and says something that backs up what they're saying about Tellin had no option but to change it. Fair play, he had the bollocks to do it. And yeah, too many teams would go in 2-0 at half-time, Russell, and it would just be damage limitation at that point. Like, just batten down the hatches, try not to lose by a bigger score line than this. So, fair play to them. I said they capitalised when we switched off, and you said it on PMP at the time, and I totally agreed with this. As much as I've been a bit disrespectful Aberdeen, maybe, but the ball that Jamie McGrath plays is a totally defence-splitting pass. If Hatate had played that through to Kyogo, and Kyogo goes and slots that away, we'd all be saying, what a pass that was. We wouldn't sit and go, Aberdeen centre-back was rotten there, wouldn't he? We wouldn't at all.
That, just quickly as well, that's the other side of it as well. Regardless of the change in personnel, that's the other bit you've got to admire too, that they've got guys obviously capable of moments of brilliance like that. So that's another aspect to it you've just got to be wary of. I'm not saying we go in fearful of Aberdeen, but I do think there's a level of respect I put on them, certainly for what I've seen so far in terms of the manager making changes that can influence outcomes, and they now seem to have certain elements of personnel that can definitely do that. That pass being a total case in point, you know what I mean?
Oh, it was an absolutely delightful pass. But Liam, Aberdeen played a massive game through the week. Obviously, we played as well, and it was important for us to get the 3 points against Dundee. But Aberdeen's game was a slobber knocker in itself up against Rangers, and they did get the win. It's a bit similar to us the week before with Atalanta, expending a lot of energy. So you're going into the weekend game thinking, how much did they zap out of us? Have they got the squads to cope for things like that, like a big midweek game, and then an even bigger game on the weekend for them? So how do you think that will?
We were in a tough game, though, mind. Aberdeen were in a tough game.
True, actually, yeah, we were up against stuffy opposition on Wednesday night. Aberdeen cutting through Rangers, no bother. But yeah, wise man, how do you feel that the game through the week will affect Aberdeen in any way, or is it going to be one of those things where we might get lured into? Some fans will get lured into a false sense of security, like, for example, a few years ago, we lost a semi-final to those a lot across the city after they'd played a massive European game in midweek, and we all rolled up thinking, we'll absolutely do them here, and they actually looked a lot more fitter than us on the day. I don't know if we can read too much into what happened through the week about Aberdeen. I think the adrenaline and the buzz, just how well they're playing right now and how good they're doing, I think it will carry them through. I don't think it'll be too much concern, especially because we are early in the season as well. So realistically for Aberdeen, the players shouldn't be knackered after Wednesday. But how do you think it will factor in at all, or no, they'll just be up for it?
Unless they inherited Stephen Gerrard's medical staff, they should get a wee bit knackered. I mean, I remember when we played Rangers in that cup as well, they were zooming about there, but it was, in third, it was more than buzz and adrenaline going about in that squad, So I think what it's going to do is it's going to give them confidence. Now it's, well, okay, they've went to 2 pitches, they didn't win at ours, but they came into our place and they had a good draw, a comfy high draw. And we've seen how Rangers celebrate there, and they're supposed to be a big thing now. But going up to Aberdeen and then beating Rangers up there, and again, even missing a penalty. That was the boy McGrath as well, missed that one. Terrible penalty. But to come back for that and then take the win, and we watched the end of the game in the club, and we had somebody had a cell phone going on while we were watching it as well. And they didn't look like they were up for it. Aberdeen looked like they were playing for the pride, and that they were looking to establish that they were, top of the league and they deserved to be there. I think they're going to come out thinking that as well. But thinking and doing it are 2 different things. We've got guys this isn't new to us. We've got guys that have come through this for trebles and years of that, of being expected to win and being expected to be dominant in Scotland every single game. So it's very new for them. So I think it would be more easier for them to trip up than any of our guys. We've got loads of guys in the bench that will get our guys through it and get up to the bigger, another big game at Hampden. There'll be a lot of time for that. Them coming, even the size of the ground at Hampden. Seen somebody earlier in the list saying, Kyogo comes alive at Hampden.
Yeah.
Big pitch, it's a different surface. We've got a passing team that likes to move. The only thing that worries me about Hampden as well, as you were saying earlier about their tactics, can hit us on the break at Hampden, and I'm worried when they put pressure on us. We don't seem to still have a lot of confidence when we're actually having to defend. We're great when we're pressing, we're not great when we're being pressed.
But I know it wasn't Jimmy Telling's Aberdeen last season, but we did see when we played them in the last semi-final at Hampden, the Scottish Cup one. I mean, some of the goals he scored that day, there was 2 identical goals at the back post. The first goal was just a simple ball where Carter Vickers and Scales both got caught flat-footed. So this is Aberdeen now, a much better team than what they were last season. So we'll need to be aware of them, because there has been some moments this season where we've still been caught out with these similar things. So we'll need to be sharp on that one. So this is a much better Aberdeen team that we're playing. But of course, you mentioned Hampden, of course, the venue. One person who wants to keep his Hampden record intact. And after what we saw the other week, obviously Brendan Rodgers, now you'll have an idea about Aberdeen, and obviously we'll show them respect. But obviously also he's got a perfect record at Hampden. We know how much Brendan, it's not a bad thing to say. He's got a bit of an ego. Ange Postecoglou had one too. It's not a bad thing. Your manager's got to back themselves. They've got to believe in themselves. Brendan won't want this record to go. He loves that fact that, we said it last season when we lost the League Cup game to Kilmarnock, and that was his cup record abolished, gone. But he is still undefeated at Hampden. He doesn't want to lose that.
So there's 2 sides to it, isn't there? There's a Hampden record, but then you combine it with the fact there's a trophy not in his cabinet since his return. So he wants his League Cup back as well.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? So it's a double thing for Rodgers, because it's the same tournament that he didn't win last year. He's like, whoa. That one has to come back. Do you know what I mean? Whether it's ego or not, who cares? It's also a will to win. It's a complete drive and will to win. It's a winner's mentality. Hampden thing, yep, I get that as well. And we've got the perfect guy to steer us through. All the, the talking up I've done of Aberdeen there. It's not because it's a worry that we don't have the right manager or players to get past them whatsoever. It's just recognising tomorrow's as tough a game as we'll play domestically all season. At this moment in time, I think when you look back, you'll go, we played them in the League Cup semi at Hampden, right? 4 days before the Champions League game, with both teams on a record of, 9 wins, 1 draw in the league.
Yep.
Is that right? Is it 10?
Yeah, it's the 11th game would have been Dundee United this weekend, but that's now on the back burner.
But both teams are at 9-1.
Yep.
All the other League Cup games Aberdeen have played, they've won all of those as well. As have we, but they played an extra 3. And if we were to overcome them at Hampden and end their unbeaten streak as well, I think that's the type of game you'd look back on at the end of a season when reflecting and go, that was some win. Because it has got to be as well, in terms of squad management. I get the Rodgers personal stuff, but I don't think that will overcome the bearing of his thoughts on Leipzig.
Yeah.
That's a huge factor as well. And that has to come into the thinking. I know you put out teams just to win football matches, but you've got to, I always say, play the fixture. But that fixture still falls within a schedule. And that schedule has greater importance actually in midweek than it does this weekend. Albeit, I think there'll be far bigger uproar if we don't win against Aberdeen than if we don't win against Leipzig. For me, the day we turn that attitude around and we start getting more frustrated at home games against Leipzig than we do in League Cup games to win our, 30th, 40th League Cup. Once that becomes less on the priority list than home matches against teams that, yes, it'd be a scalp, but to lose it, we don't want to just accept. That, to me, is when the club's really shifted its mentality. And I do think there has to be one eye on that when picking the side. So, like I say, I think in terms of the importance of the fixture, Brendan's records, all that combined, I think this game will be a telling moment on this season when we reflect on it in terms of the magnitude of it, the record both clubs are on. Fair play to whoever wins it. Obviously, I think we will. But I do think it's the perfect storm for a fixture right now. Do you know what I mean?
And funny enough, in the chat tonight, AG has been saying the same thing that you've just said about the Leipzig game. He came out and said the Leipzig game much more important. I love the fact he called it the CIS Cup as well. Fantastic. The Coca-Cola Cup. The Coca-Cola Cup's original, but I predict we'll dish out an elegant pumping tomorrow 4-1. And he also backed it up as well. Another one saying, only in our mad country is the League Cup important because the treble is deemed mandatory. Marco Rose also thinks the CIS Cup is shite. But yeah,
he's got a point though, isn't he? I mean, the League Cup should be like fourth by then some. Do you know what I mean? The list of priorities. And for me, the Scottish Cup should be third.
I know they're a club that most people around us, but did you see Manchester City's reaction the other week to losing, or through the week to losing in the League Cup? Did you see that? The players were just like on the bench, just sort of laughing. And even Pep Guardiola 2 rounds ago said he does not care about the League Cup. He does not care. And it's like, he just sees more important things to worry about, essentially. But the thing is, what you said is correct about attitudes up here towards that. If we were to lose this in this semi-final, there would be more uproar than the League Cup one, because the instant reaction would be, oh, well, that's Rangers going to win another trophy. But there's no guarantees, by the way. I mean, look how awful they're playing, but instantly the reaction will be, oh, we've just handed it to Rangers on a plate. Well, I'd think if Aberdeen were to beat us and go to the final, I'd think that Aberdeen would have something to say about that. But that's the attitude with a lot of our fans. If we don't win a trophy, it's panic stations because, oh no, they're going to win it now. And it's like, there's no guarantees that they're going to win. They might not even win on Sunday. So if Keeping Motherwell get through to that one, but that's what it's ingrained in. What you're talking about, Russell, that seems to be, I think, even subconsciously, some fans maybe don't realise it, but I think that is what affects a lot of fans' mentality towards if we lose a domestic game or lose in a cup game domestically. It's the annoyance, shall we say, that they would end up winning the trophy. But as I say, there's no guarantees that they will go on and win it. But yeah, we were talking there about the Brendan Rodgers and being the man to lead us there, but obviously the players as well. And one person that has got a great record as well, and he is back for this game. Graham Tillsman said it, Liam. Callum McGregor has some Hampden record too, and it's important that he's back. As far as I know, from what Brendan said, we have a full bill of health as well, which is even more encouraging, given that Adam Ida was reported to be in a protective boot just a couple of days ago. But he was training today, and Brendan said in his presser that he's got a full bill of health, nothing to worry about. But McGregor being back, he's obviously been rested the last couple of games, which makes perfect sense to me. The guy plays an obscene amount of football in a calendar year. So he was due a wee break. So fair play, we came through it unscathed without him. But yeah, again, captain, he's out on the park. Obviously, he's the leader out there, and he's got a perfect record at Hampden as well. So he naturally will be expected to. And the thing is, he's got a fair share of goals against Aberdeen over the years as well. He knows about this fixture, he knows what to do against them. And I said a couple of weeks ago, he's going to have that naff Graham Shinnie kicking him about in the middle of the park. But I'd like to think that McGregor will have no problem just swatting him aside. But it is so vital, Liam, about McGregor being back as well as everybody else.
You can see him scoring in this fixture as well. I like McGregor for these big games. So I'm looking forward to seeing him take command of the midfield. I mean, I thought McCowan came in and did absolutely brilliant in that job. I mean, you got to look at him. That's being the future. And I hope that does give us now this time that now that we can rest Callum McGregor for games like this. Getting back to this cup, I think we need to win it. I think we have to go there. Our intent when we start the season, I'm sure, was that when Rodgers has that dressing room, that was to be an invincible. Being as invincible as long as you probably can. I don't think that was anywhere near what they talked about at Aberdeen. It was be competitive. It was trying as well. And they've had a good run of form, and I'm sure they're feeling confident and all that. But we are the dominant team in Scottish football. And I think when Callum McGregor's back, and I'm hoping you see him like, I said it before, I like when he has a battle against Shinnie. But I want to see him, he always looks better when he's playing with a wee bit of anger, a wee bit of swagger in him, when he gets in an argument with somebody early, and you can see
a bit of needle.
There's a bit about him, he's a Glasgow boy. So I like to see that, and I like to see wee Shinnie put in his place, and as soon as that happens, everything else. He's that big cog in the middle, but all the other cogs just all run seamlessly around him. When Callum's on, we're on. So I'm hoping that rest has done him good, and he comes in ticking like that cog that he is.
Well, I did think on Wednesday night, even though we came through the game and got the win in the end, although at times it was a bit of a hard watch, you did feel his presence missing in the middle of the park. I mean, Engels, Bernardo and McCowan are, they're fine, is what they are. McCowan's been fantastic since he came in. Engels, I know a lot of fans have starting to make their mind up already, but I ain't on that. I ain't on that bus. I ain't on that train, whatever you want to say. I'm definitely not. I'm very much of the opinion that Engels, come the end of the season, will be talking about what a great player he was for us this season. And Bernardo, I think he's very safe. But I did feel that from the middle of the park through the week, there was maybe a lack of, I don't know, what would you say? Well, not pace really, but there's something about McGregor and that engine that he's got. And he's always the one that drops deep, picks the ball up. He seems to start the play. I did feel like that was missing on Wednesday night, so it will be fantastic to have him back.
Phil, brand new midfield combination. Average age of what? 22, 23?
Yeah, McCown's the oldest one. 26 makes McCown the oldest.
Engels has just turned what, 20?
Yes, I think he has.
He just turned 20, or was it 21?
I'll say 21, and of course Bernardo's 22.
23.
Okay.
22. Look at that, and never all three of them played in the start lineup for Celtic yet. So, and you're taking out, as you just described, Callum McGregor from that equation. It's not just going to instantly click all these things straight away. This is the importance of being able to rotate. And again, it was a comfortable win midweek.
Yeah.
Hugo Burry's one of those chances first half, which he should be doing. No one's talking the way they were. No one's panicking. I think it's almost at the point, we were saying the other day, me and Terry, about the no-win situation. I mean, maybe the League Cup semi falls into that category. Because whilst I say I'm okay no matter what happens, as long as it doesn't derail the season, for me, my main eyes are on midweek, the European thing. But interestingly enough, this is the no-win thing when you're at Celtic, whereas, you know, if Marco Rose, as they were saying in the chat, wouldn't care about a Skull Cup. It's not like that here.
Yep.
You won't get praised if you do win it. It'll be relief and expectancy. Well, aye, as you should have done, mate. But if you go out, it's an absolute disaster. Mm-hmm. So we're 0-0 at halftime midweek. And it's uproar if you follow any of the socials, you know, for Celtic fans, absolute panic. And everyone's shite, you know. Nobody's 11 million, you know, I knew he was getting, and then the other one knew he was getting too much hype. And you're going, fucking hell, man. Like, if Kyogo, the golden goose, scores, but if he did his job, you know, no one will criticise. None of these other issues are coming at the fore. We're in the lead in a domestic home game where we've made 5-6 changes to the lineup. It's no win at times domestically for Celtic. That side of it frustrates me. But yeah, on your touch on the midfield thing though, for me, brand new midfield combination, average age, I don't know, would average out about 23. Come on.
It would work out with that, yeah. It's McCown being the oldest one, which is quite mad when you think about it. And also
making his second or third ever start for Celtic.
Aye, that's true. Well, Graham Towers came in and reminded us well that McCown's also cup tied for this. He is cup tied for this. Aye, cup final as well, Graham. If we do get through, he's cup tied for the entire tournament because he already played for Dundee in this tournament. So yeah, he can't play any minutes for us in the League Cup this season. The Betfred Cup. Try to find many different names we can use for the League Cup tonight. All the different ones. We've had Skull Cup, CIS Cup, the Coca-Cola Cup, Betfred Cup. Try to remember all these different sponsors we've had over the years.
But what is it? Premier Sports.
Premier Sports now.
Driver Cup was the one. Celtic games. Driver Cup.
Ah, right, okay. So you did in England as well. They always change the sponsor with the League Cup as well. It's always under different names, but maybe it was a QTS Cup as well at one point. But yeah, it's a fair few different ones.
It should really be the Pie Sports Cup. That would be the best thing ever.
That would actually, Pie Sports Cup.
Imagine that, like that would be peak Scottish football yet again. Just like.
It would actually.
You know, up steps Callum McGregor to lift the Pie Sports.
Aye, Graham Tyrrell said Pie Sports Cup. I'm pretty sure.
Like, English news, like mainstream, like BBC News or Sky News. And yes, Celtic won the Pie Sports Cup. That'd be fucking great.
You're talking about peak Scottish football. I'm pretty sure there was one of the lower league tournaments was sponsored by Glenn's Vodka not too long ago. And here that was the Manager of the Month award. Was it the Glenn's Vodka Manager of the Month? And it's like Glenn's Vodka sponsoring a tournament or sponsoring a manager of the month.
Though, man? Why not? They're like man of the match. Like, did they not stop giving out champagne and stuff? That's like the wrong message.
Oh, yeah, true, actually, yeah.
I've seen games in Bulgaria where guys are getting handed hoovers and shit after the game. You know,
it's not bullseye.
Whole website once where there was guys with pizzas and stuff like that. It's been a lot of dodgy sponsors the other years, you know.
They used to give a bike to the man of the match for the Coca-Cola Cup years. The man of the match in the cup final got a bike, a BMX. A bike. Yeah, Coca-Cola, like a sort of wheel hub on it as well. Coca-Cola, aye, no joke.
But I think it is at the stage now, like with sponsorship and all that, everyone wants to pick a hole in it now, no matter what. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if they've got an I in their name, it must represent Israel and shit like that. You're like, geez, it's just a sponsor. It's just a sponsor. Like, the betting thing, that'll encourage folk to bet. Well, let me tell you one thing. If you ever watch the League Cup, I'm pretty sure whoever the sponsor is probably kicking himself for investing in it. It'll certainly not encourage you to use whatever the product may be in Scottish League Cup football. You know what I mean? If anything, it's a deterrent. People should be promoting bookies and alcohol companies sponsoring Scottish Cup competition because it'll probably put them out of business. You know what I mean?
It's been a mad merry-go-round with the sponsors in Scottish football. I think as well, obviously the money it brings in and it changes so much, it just looks bad on the what's the name, Neil Doncaster. He always seems to be the one that gets it every time there's an announcement of a new sponsorship. Instead of like some kind of celebration of it, it's like, fuck's sake, sponsorship changing again, you know. So Neil Doncaster can't negotiate a deal, you know.
I bet you he's had to turn down deals though as well.
I
bet
is,
he's done his homework and went, "Oh, the backlash isn't worth it." I bet you.
That's what Snoop Dogg was there doing. He was wanting to do the Cannabis Cup with Celtic, but
The Cannabis Cup. He was talking again, by the way, about
I know.
investing in Celtic, which that was an exclusive by Liam on the bus about 2.5 years ago.
Aye, that Snoop Dogg.
By the way, that was you did say that.
He said about 2.5 years ago. Remember that? He goes, everyone does things for a reason with that level. And you went, him wearing a Celtic top, more than one occasion, boy, see, he went, is never not deliberate. Remember?
Aye.
And then he was speaking the other day saying he would be up for getting involved. I thought, fucking pays to know the wise man.
Guy from Glasgow to LA, and he became he was one of the top rap photographers. He did NWA and, you know, and Ice Cube and all that back in the day. And he became really good pals with it. And he was a massive Celtic supporter. And he got all that inner circle, all the rap guys, especially all the LA West Coast guys, all into wearing Celtic jerseys and, you know, and promoting the team and all that. You know, it's amazing how many guys like that are out there, especially a lot of the actors that end up in Hollywood. So you wouldn't be surprised that when you see guys like that showing up, that they do actually have a fair bit of knowledge of Celtic and that, you know.
Well, you think of those Hollywood folk. Sorry, Liam.
I don't think there's many other teams out there that have that sort of support that we do that actually has that amount of fame attached to it. These teams, like that are actual real supporters that have an attachment to the team. No, like, you know, the guys that Kim Kardashian supporting Barcelona or something, you know. Because, you know.
I mean, if you could pitch a business model and a pipe dream to Hollywood actors like Ryan Reynolds to make Wrexham potentially just a Premier League club, surely it'd be an easier sell to pitch to similar level multi-millionaires, whatever, to get Celtic to be a force in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, I mean, surely that'd be something you could get them if you put in the proper investment, all the Netflix document, whatever goes with it, bigger stadium, loads of hype around it, to make them a force in the Champions League level, like the latter stages. Surely that's a similar pipe dream to just getting Wrexham into potentially the Premier League one day.
Well, it's like establishing those. You look at what they've done with Wrexham at a brand. Ryan Reynolds is one of the first things. He started an ad agency here in Vancouver about 20 years ago, 15 years ago that. So did Steve Nash as well. And I know those two were pals and, you know, that played basketball, Steve Nash, right? And they're all from here. And they all went into sort of like, he started doing it and using his own gin and his vodkas. And you see a lot of them doing it. And for sports teams just a way to amplify that. And what he did with that whole, Wrexham, the TV show and all that, that makes it really attractive. Other celebrities are looking at that and saying, okay, there's a lot of different ways that they can market their other products through having, you know, a thing like that. And as far as polishing the halo and having a really good story and a backup, Celtic's prime. But careful what you wish for. We nearly had fucking Bono at one time, right? And I'd rather have fucking Benjamin Netanyahu than Bono. So, you know,
Bono, man. Oh my God.
Remember that? Yeah, I remember that nearly happened in the early 2000s. Aye, that's right.
Fuck that, honestly. That can't live with or without you, no. Trust me, mate. I can live without you. No problem.
I've got to say, well, some of the names that are coming in the chat with different suggestions for the cup. Craig,
the Ticket's Cup.
Some of them would be fantastic.
Would be great. The Ticket's Cup, that would be good. That would be brilliant, Monty. I wouldn't bother with the Craig Pipe, but just the Ticket's Cup. The Poundland Cup would be funny.
Aye.
There'd be a few connotations of that, you know what I mean? The Poundland Cup would be good. That would be decent.
But there's a few.
Who was the sponsor that they fell out with recently? That begins with an H.
Is this not the Hummel? Aye, well, Hummel with the kit sponsor. Aye,
that's when they just paid the 3.9 million to.
Aye, it was. Aye.
Imagine that's what they did with the 3.9 million. They sponsored all the cups. The Hummel Cup.
The Hummel.
I'd let them win it.
They wouldn't have the cinch banners and all that.
No, we're not doing it. We're not doing it with the Hummel ribbons. Well, you've just won the thing, mate. What are you talking about?
Oh, some fantastic suggestions, folks. But Liam Kyogo, are you worried about his form in front of goal Wednesday night? Another couple of clangers. I mean, we know how good he is, and it's weird because the whole time he's been here, even under Ange, for every hat trick he would score. He would also have a hat trick of misses in the game. One thing I always say about him is he never hides. There's some strikers who would miss that chance on Wednesday and then might go missing for the rest of the game and just not want to touch the ball. They would just want the ground to swallow them up. But are you concerned really? And also with Aberdeen'S sort of in and out form, because let's be honest, the two strikers that we've got to choose from, the form, neither of them are really shining massively right now. So who do you start with on tomorrow night? And what do you think is the best option here against Aberdeen?
I go for Kyogo on the big pitch every single time. The only thing it does worries me, I like it and I hate it, but he's up against two monsters again. He's got that big Clankso, the European one at the back that looks like the baddie at the first Highlander film. He was the one, I think, like, tried to take the back of his head off one game and clanked into him, and he's just been clumsy and awkward, but a wee bit nasty as well. You know what I mean? No remorse, like just wee man looked like he was nearly fucking knocked out when he came back through the back of his head to win a header. So I'm hoping that, and then that other one with a hyphen Nelson Scandinavian name, he looked like another dirty bastard and all last time we played them. So yep. I'm hoping with the wider pitch, Kyogo takes that, and that's Kyogo's revenge. Take these guys, draw them about. That thing that Charlie McGregor was saying, that the whole "you can't catch me." I want that Kyogo to come back. I want them chasing invisible Pokemon on the park. Where they can't find him, they don't know where he is. Movement, and in the big part, I hope we're looking for it, and I hope we can find him. So I say Kyogo, and then once we get up, send Ida on, and maybe he can batter a couple of them as well, and they're all worn down at that point.
It's amazing how football's changed that much, eh? Like we went from, what was it, Craig Bellamy telling one of the players he was against, like, my gardener gets paid for cutting my back lawn more than what you do, mate, to Kyogo actually just, you can't catch me. Like, welcome to 2024. I bet that annoys them more. That fucking do you nothing. At least Bellamy, you black guys, probably fucking right to. You know what I mean? Fucking bastard.
Yep.
But Kyogo's just running straight for the playground. You can't catch me. You're like, fucking gonna fucking. But last time we were at Hampden, who scores that winner? The infamous winner, Adamida.
Does, yeah. Scottish Cup final, yep.
There's merit in both arguments.
Yep. And
I think it's weird when you say they're out of. Are they out of form? Are they not? I don't know. I think Kyogo, there was a couple of guilt-edged misses, but they're still back into score, and the environment is in tomorrow, despite those. Yeah, I would. I think these occasions he's made for. I think there's good argument for either of them. I wouldn't be surprised if it's either, to be honest with you. I happen to think with him as well, his season, if it's going to kickstart, will be a bigger moment than he's had so far, albeit he scored a few goals. I think he's needing a big goal.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, that'll help the whole process of that competition then building again. His confidence soaring. That'll be a good thing for him if he was to get a goal in a League Cup semi-final. Not that you play him in the hope that, we'll just pick in the hope that you get a goal. It'll obviously be a strategy. So whatever it is, then they're picked on merit and they're picked on the fixture, and then obviously based on what we're planning on doing against Leipzig on the Tuesday, with a bit of thought with that. I'm confident with either that we go for, to be honest with you, they can hurt Aberdeen.
Well, Hampden seems to be a place that Kyogo loves playing at because he's got a fantastic record there, especially in the League Cup. Well, more so the final, because the two League Cup finals he's played in, he's scored all the goals in the game for Celtic, 2 against Hibs and then 2 against Rangers a season later. So he does enjoy a game at Hampden and in this trophy in particular. So hopefully whoever it is that starts up front tomorrow does come alive. And it's interesting, Liam, that you bring the Aberdeen centre backs up. You are right about that Eastern European one they've got. He's from Serbia or something like that. He's a definition of a clogger. He really is. I think he only speaks violence, really. That's all he does, man. There was a game last season, we beat them 6-0. Remember that one? And there was this weird moment during the game when they were 3-0 down and like he won a corner or something. Or he put the ball out for a corner. Like we were trying to cut in for the wing and he got a great slide tackle on whoever it was and it went out for a corner. And he got up in front of the Jock Steed end where I sit and was like, yes. And it's like, 3-0 down, mate. Like, what are you doing? And they end up losing 6-0. But yeah, and also when you talk about the aggression as well, I did think that was something about Aberdeen's game a couple of weeks ago. super aggressive. They were taking bookings, no problem. They were happy to just lunge in, which, to be fair, maybe something teams have got to do when they come to Glasgow, because we will overrun them. We will obviously be on the ball. They showed that they were up for the fight, and I imagine tomorrow again there'll be the same sort of instructions. Just don't be afraid to stick a foot in there and try and rough Celtic up a wee bit.
I mean, you're highlighting now like the qualities of a team that's got proper balance through it, though, Phil.
Yeah,
we've spoke about a pass that was an absolute baller of a ball through with outside of the boot, real moment of quality. We spoke about different personnel coming on, changing Aberdeen's sort of tactic or outlook on the game and it influencing outcomes in the space of 15 minutes. And now you've talked about the dark arts as well. That's a good variety in a team. Like, all these things are it's not just one-dimensional what we're up against at the weekend. Definitely not.
Right, they will make it tough for us, but we're going to be relying, obviously, Russell, on the wingers to find some space in there and behind and make chances for us as well. Maeda and Kuhn could easily be argued to have been our two best players this season with the form that they've shown, and obviously Kuhn's had a wee rest recently as well. Maeda got some minutes as well on Wednesday night, but yeah, I mean, the big pitch as well, getting in behind their fullbacks, it's going to be vital as well. Say it's Kuhn. The way he's played this season, he is just like he's a new man. He literally is a definition, Russell, of he's like a new signing. You know, we always say, I know that saying can wind us up a wee bit, but he genuinely is. And that's why one of the things for people who are writing off Engels and whatnot already, and it's like, yeah, but look at Nicholas Kuhn, who
he looks like a football guy signing.
Aye,
Celtic signing. That's what he looks like to me.
He's definitely going to be crucial tomorrow, and obviously Maeda as well. So I take it, Russell, when it comes to the wingers, that's what you'll be looking at tomorrow. There's no like wild Luis Palma going to appear or James Forrest going to appear. I know James Forrest loves a goal in this trophy and loves a goal at Hampden, but I think tomorrow it's going to be Kuhn, it's going to be Maeda if they're fully fit, and say Brendan Rodgers leads us to believe they are fully fit.
Yeah, I think there's no denying that that's the first choice two wingers. Of course it is. But I think it's interesting. I think the Palma pylon is, I didn't really get it. I think it's way, way beyond what it should be. I think he's getting held to a higher standard than the other wingers are, put it that way. You know, I watch Maeda make mistake after mistake in games, but because of everything else he brings, he gets a pass on it. And obviously Palma's not going to be able to deliver the other aspects of the game that Maeda does, but, you know, only one's been accused of trapping a balloon at a birthday party.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yes.
And I look back at that header over the bar at the end of the game at the weekend, and I go, that's Palma. You're fearing for what the backlash will be on him. Yeah. Maeda misses a header for 2 yards, and nobody mentions it. And that's not me being sniding. Maeda, for me, is way ahead of Palma. But I think there's an imbalance in every imperfection that Palma has been red flagged. Anything Palma does well is being kiboshed and not even looked at. Whereas Maeda, everything he does well rightfully gets highlighted. Anything he doesn't, we kind of just turn away. He plays 3 crosses, mate. None of them will even be close to a level of consistency. None of them will. No. Palma plays one ball that won't beat the first man. That's him. 2 weeks of absolute. Put it this way: when it comes down to it, it'll be Maeda and Kuhn. It'll be interesting to see who the first choice of the subs bench is to come on for one of them.
Yeah.
That'll be an interesting debate. You would think it'd be Forrest, but then if that was the case, you think Forrest would have started at the weekend. That did confuse me that he didn't. And then, of course, Palma made the sub appearance against Atalanta as well. And again, bear in mind, we're digging here for a 0-0 draw.
I thought Palma did okay when he came on against Atalanta.
But it's not someone you would have chosen to come on, particularly for that type of display for the team to be putting in. So something's changed in the manager's mind. He's not going to be influenced by Twitter pylons or any of that shite. Wouldn't surprise me if the first winger to come on at the weekend, and it does tend to sub at least one of them off.
Yeah, he does.
If Palmer's the third choice. As for the first two, you're absolutely spot on. Of course it'll be Maeda and Kuhn, and they've been absolutely brilliant this year. What I love from Maeda's point of view is I would guess he's probably the one that's proved Brendan's preconceptions wrong the most.
I think so, yeah. I've said that a few times. I think out of the East Asian players in our team, I think he'll be the last one standing. I think he'll outlast Kyogo, Hatate, definitely outlast Yang. So yeah, I think
if there was 3 £10 million bids put in, or 3 15 million, whatever you wanted, which ones would he accept first in a running order? he'd accept Maeda's last.
Oh, definitely. I think he's very high on Maeda for a shadow of a doubt.
There's
Some
no
of the
way
stuff
he would have thought that when he first came in.
No, definitely not. We all said it. We all just he's not an. But to be fair, a lot of us thought that about a lot of the squad. Well, these are all Ange players. Brendan won't adapt to any of them, but him and Maeda, they've been fantastic together. Like it's just worked brilliantly, and he's getting better and better all the time. Maeda, because you're right. There was moments where he would trip over the ball, fall flat on his face, but he would score a screamer 2 minutes later. And then the next ball he plays could be just right out the park. You know, it's just what he does. Very Georgios Samaras-esque. He's very hot and cold, and it's just part of his character, just part of what makes him a bit of a cult hero. And on the Palmer thing, I saw a great point today out there on Twitter, and I couldn't agree more with this. It feels like he's now fell into the Mikey Johnston territory where he just cannot do right for wrong, no matter what he does. There was a moment on Wednesday night where in the first half we tried to, Dundee had a corner. It obviously fell on the edge of the area. We tried to break and he controlled it and just ran it right out the park. And then it was just like massive groan of in the stadium. And I'm just like, I felt genuinely so bad for him. Like, fuck, man. Again, boy can't do right for wrong. Just everything he's trying. If you can't fault that he's no trying, no doubt about it. He's wanting to impress us, but it feels like just nothing's coming off for him. And every time that happens to him, it just becomes more and more of a pile-on from the stands, online and whatnot. And yeah, it's pure Mikey Johnson territory now. The boy could end up coming on at the weekend. Just let's say he finds a way onto the park somehow by, there's an injury and he has to come on and he's like the last sub and he ends up scoring the winner. Let's say something like that happens. There'll still be some kind of pile-on, regardless. I wouldn't care who puts the ball in the back of the net,
Everyone's fair for criticism, by the way. Everyone is.
Yeah.
But his, to me, is just completely imbalanced for what you're actually watching. There's an outside of the boot right-footed pass he played in the first half of the weekend there. That if that's Nicholas Kuhn, you're going, fuck, should have buried that there. Beautiful ball that he does with outside of the right boot. And there was other moments where he's doing then the backtrack and the cutting back, winning the ball back, showing a bit of physicality. If Maeda does it, you're going, fucking amazing. He's not getting any credit for any of that. And it's not me saying he's ahead of either the first two choices, because he's not. It's Maeda and Nicholas Kuhn, 100%. But I already see that he's going up the pecking order again. That's what it strikes me as. By coming on against Atlanta, by starting there at the weekend, I think he's already moved himself back into the territory of first team reckoning. Bear in mind, what was his goal contributions?
There's one. I think it's Stephen Ray, who's a sort of regular viewer, comes in every so often and tells us whenever his name comes up, Palmer, it's like 20 goal assists or goals/assists, whatever.
20 goal contributions. Mikey Johnson ain't ever had that. But listen, it is what it is. I would trust the manager's judgment on it more than anyone else's. But I like to bring balance to the debates. Do you know what I mean? I think sometimes I think it's a wee bit imbalanced but it happens. We've been doing this long enough to know, and we're guilty of ourselves, of course we are. But you just go through like times at Celtic where we're spoiled and we'll just find the player to be any sort of imperfections. That guy's getting highlighted for it. But that, it just seems to they pass the baton around the team as to who's the fall guy. You know what I mean? Bear in mind, our £30 million sale last summer had a 2-month dip in form as well.
He did indeed. Now, the other area of the park that's obviously got a lot of talking is the centre backs, and we'll try to figure out here what he's going to do regarding the centre back pairing. Austin Trusty's obviously played recently now because Carter Vickers' injury. I think Trusty's doing fine. The Dortmund game aside, but everybody was rank rotten in the Dortmund game, so you can't really single him out there. But Liam Scales has been playing like a man possessed at times, like a man who knows that, my place isn't safe now. Imagine that, a bit of competition. Look what it does for the players. Look what it does. As Paddy makes a wee appearance there, comes to say hello. But Carter Vickers is back after a injury there. So it's interesting to see what he's going to do. We got a little taste of it last week against Motherwell. It was an interesting moment. Me and Terry were talking about it on PMP after that one, where Carter Vickers came back after his little injury layoff. We thought, well, let's see if it's going to be Austin Trusty. Alongside Carter Vickers, is it going to be Scales? Alongside Carter Vickers again, or what's he going to do here? And then he kept Scales on and moved to the left back and kept Carter. So I had all three of them on at the same time. Then through the week, obviously, we get Trusty and Carter Vickers starting together. It's interesting what he's going to do. It's a good problem for the manager to have. These are the problems we want the manager to have. These are the things we want Brendan Rodgers to be getting kept up right about, because he's got three centre-backs who I think any combination right now, I'd be all right with out of the three. But what are you thinking, Russell? There is he going to? I mean, I expect Carter Vickers to come in. That's probably why he got the 60 or 70 minutes on Wednesday night. But it's Trusty or Scales alongside him. What are you thinking?
I think Scales has earned it, to be honest with you, to be starting the big games. I think Trusty still needs to, if it's a shootout for the left-hand side of centre-back jersey, then for me, that's Scales' and Trusty's to win off him. I think Trusty's been over-criticised as well, for me, for a guy who's only started left centre-back once now so far, which was at the weekend there. Thought he did okay. Thought he did very well against Atlanta. Again, slightly. We're not talking different postcodes here, but still a different, not his favoured position at centre back. However, when it comes to winning crucial football matches, you go with your best centre back pairing. And at this moment in time, Scales has the credit in the bank.
Yep.
So it would be Scales. Again, does he then have an eye on Tuesday? And you see it being Scales and Trusty, actually. And CCV, he just keeps wrapped up for the Leipzig game, which, to be honest, now I'm even saying that it makes sense to me. He got his run out at the weekend. Midweek, sorry. He got his run out, what was it, 70 minutes, 75?
About
75,
there, yeah.
I'm sure it was.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just go, right, let's just keep him fit for the Leipzig one. Trusty and Scales have played together, 6-7 matches now?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
So, and again, if you're me, you're prioritising the European game. Just CCV cannot do both. All right?
Yeah, we're in a position,
He's not going to start both, mate, and play the full game in both. So it's whether you still think he's worthy getting 45 minutes, 60 minutes in this one to get him, if that's going to help him get to optimum fitness for Europe or not, or whether you think wrap him up in cotton wool for the European game. I wouldn't be surprised if you see it Scales and Trusty.
Yeah, it's weird because in the chat right now there's a real mixture going on here. We've had all different combinations. A lot of people saying about Scales at left back, and of course our resident left back expert on a Friday night, he's absolutely disconnected right now. I don't know what's happened to Liam's connection because every Friday night it needs to come up at some point. Greg Taylor was obviously back through the week. Alex Valier, I think, has done pretty well. I mean, he's getting assists. That's something that is good to see. Fullbacks getting forward and getting some assists and giving us that extra, threat going forward. Graham Tyrrell, remember the klaxon. Thank you, Graham. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what he does about the left back. But I see some people are suggesting about Scales at left back. That's something that myself and Liam, God, the amount of times last season we tried to will that into existence. Whenever we talk about the team on a Friday night, saying maybe Liam Scales will get a game at left back, maybe he'll get a game, and it never ever happened. So I don't know. I think that move against Motherwell the other week was simply just because Greg Taylor was just back from an injury. It was a case of don't really need to put him on. Scales is competent enough to see it out. Right, we're 2-0 up at that point anyway, with 10 minutes to go, 15 minutes. I think it will be Taylor or Valier will play at left back. He'll go for an out one. And I'm all right with either one. I'll say it quietly because Liam's not on, but I'm okay with either of those ones starting, to be honest. I think Valier's done all right again. The Dortmund game aside, but, nobody can. Yeah, so I'm quite confident with that one. But yeah, lots of different opinions coming in on the back line. But again, I think
what you're looking at though is, again, it's a weekend where it's bigger than just two Celtic playing each positions and all that. It's a whole narrative again of seasons that are occurring here. That's what's big. Domestic front anyway, and obviously my eyes might always be kind of drifting to Europe. I'm like, potential, imagine we won 2 home games around the Champions League. That for me is so much bigger than getting into a League Cup final. It's unreal.
The fact, right, Russell, you and I are old enough to remember the Martin O'Neill and Gordon Strachan Champions League days, and you're saying, imagine we win 2 games in a row at home in the Champions League. It's scary to think that's where we are now. Yes, it's mad.
But it's an amazing thing, to think that would be real progress as well. I know that's tragic, and you're right. But at the same time, let's fucking do it. So my focus predominantly is there. But in terms of a game tomorrow night, I'm buzzing for it because I think it'll be a right competitive domestic fixture. I think it'll be a proper football match. But it's the actual landscape domestically that changes massively after what's all said and done. at the weekend, it could burst the bubble of our nearest title rivals. The next day, it could be nuclear. What happens if Motherwell were to win?
Yeah, that's a realistic possibility.
In one weekend, without playing a league game, you might just win the league by a country mile.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it does. It makes
Because if
for
you win your game and Motherwell were to do, it's not the unthinkable, Motherwell were to win a 50-50 against them, then our league campaign may be the biggest swing happens with none of the top three playing a league match. That's another side to look at it. It's quite mad when you think about it like that.
When you bringing that up there about if we get a result tomorrow in Aberdeen and all the momentum and how it could bust the bubble, of course, who's the last team outside the Celtic and Rangers to have a start like that? It was Hearts under Romanov, the Romanov Revolution. Remember the start they made, right? And George Burley's manager. After I just looked it up there on Google just to see what happened after they finally did lose a game. So they didn't lose a game until the 29th of October. So roughly about the same time of the year, they lost to Hibs. And then in the next 10 or so games, they lost 4 and they drew 1, 2, 3, 4 over the next 10 games. So it was like that loss. They sort of just like it just spiraled after that. Now, don't get me wrong, Hearts were a bit of a basket case club, as we eventually found out. But at that time, they were only one manager deep at that stage in the Romanov Revolution. I don't think Aberdeen are going to be on that level, but I'd say they could end up stumbling in a couple of games over the next month or so if we can beat them and beat them with a bit of style tomorrow. If we can really lay a marker down and put them to the sword, not just scrape it where they've still got a bit of encouragement, we went toe-to-toe there, we gave them a fright. If we were to turn up tomorrow and just say everything goes our way and we beat them 3-0 or something, and it's a pretty comfortable one, that who knows what that could do for their confidence, and they could end up stumbling over the next few games. So tomorrow is huge in that sense of what it could do for the trajectory of both teams' season going forward.
Well, as I say as well, the following day could be, double dunting because you wouldn't put anything past what could happen in the Rangers match, you know what I mean? Which, again, still influences outcomes that we're involved in the league. I see there's quite a lot, you can't look ahead to Tuesday. Got to focus on.
But we're fans, we can.
And by the way, see a manager, they manage schedules. They tell the media you just play the next game. Don't fall for any of that shit. You manage your fixture list, and you've got to prioritise. You've got to manage your squad as well in terms of fitness, fatigue, how many games people have played in a row, suspensions, etc. Magnitude of said games. Don't ever think any game will be played without an eye on what's then upcoming. And Tuesday is close to a Saturday night. It's not a big gap between those games.
It's not.
And if you think he was only playing the fixture midweek in the league, which everyone would say is our real priority, look at the lineup.
He's 100% thinking about this game. 100% with that lineup on Wednesday night.
But yet the league comes before the League Cup, right?
Of course.
So,
oh yeah.
I'll rest my case. There will be thoughts that will be also placed on Tuesday when you see the side that gets named. It's just the way it is. And I don't mind that. I think it's important. I think it's the whole reason we always want a stronger squad is surely for the fact that we kind of have to have a wee bit of forecast in our thoughts with what games are coming up and manage said squad. That's why we're always striving for Celtic to have a better squad, not just pick your best 11 every week, every single game, twice a week, fuck it. Just play the best 11. It doesn't, no.
Not sustainable. You can't sustain that.
It doesn't work like that.
It's a squad game.
Aye, but I'm just interested to see, come Monday, when all's said and done, the whole landscape, even league-wise, will have changed, despite the fact there wouldn't have been a league game played by any of the top three.
Right.
And that could be, worst comes to worst, say Aberdeen won. Then before you know it, you're sitting up taking notice and you're checking the fixture calendar going, when's that Bustalgia fixture?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's how it would change. In fact, it's the top 4 that are playing this weekend.
As Motherwell snuck back into the top 4. They beat Dundee United, so it's
They're only
Motherwell, I believe, are
3
3 points
points
behind Rangers, aye. So, and I'm pretty sure as well, the last time, again, if you like omens, the last time I think Motherwell and Rangers played each other in a semi-final of the League Cup, Motherwell beat them, and then I think it was Pedro Caixinha got his jotters the next day, and we beat Motherwell in the final. Brendan's second season, I want to say that was. I think we beat Hibs in the game the day before. But yeah, so the last time Rangers and Motherwell, I think, met in the semi-finals, it was a Louis Moult double that sent Pedro Caixinha crashing out, and yeah, funny enough, talk about similarities. Their current manager's in a very, very similar position to Mr. Caixinha right now. Funny how history could be
They all
repeating
are.
itself right in front of our
They all
eyes.
end up like this at this time of year. They all do. I'm more worried about like the Motherwell manager, how no one's noticed since David De Gea left Man United. He hasn't played a game, but apparently hasn't retired. I see that manager at Motherwell, and I'm like, when did he get that job?
There is a remarkable similarity there, the hairstyle.
Well,
so before we go, and even though Williams disappeared,
yeah.
prediction time, Russell.
I thought you were going to put me on the spot of sudden death there. I was like, Jesus.
No, on your own, no. No. But no,
I'm happy to score some. Well, you could do some scores if you want. No,
I don't get any questions prepared now. I'll do score predictions.
Perfect.
I just score predictions. So I think.
Ask me anything then. Just ask me the capital of Sri Lanka or something. I'm up for it.
Oh, man, I can't even think that fast for it. But
Colombo.
in terms of the game tomorrow, I think we'll win. I don't think it'll be a comfort one, though. I think it'll be one of these ones that will be a bit late in the game. I think we'll only win it 1-0, but we'll win it regardless. And as long as we're there, we could win the next 2 games in the League Cup 1-0 and means we win the trophy. That's all that matters to me. So I think it'll be a tough one. They'll make us work for it. And we will get a goal quite late on to win it 1-0, I will say.
2-1.
2-1.
2-1, and it will be 1-1 at some point.
Okay. All those we've got NM saying penalties. No again. I can't even go through that again. That was a nightmare. That one.
Well, see, to me, that's almost verging on worse than getting put out. You're not wanting to do 120 minutes before an acid test like Tuesday.
No,
see, whilst we're competitive in that Champions League, honestly, I can't understand like the mind block that people like League Cup. I'll see Celtic in a million other League Cup semi-finals. Yeah. But 4 points for 3 with an upcoming home game against proper opposition, but one we're going into with a chance and a bit of belief.
Definitely.
You know, you don't want 120 minutes. 120 is just no good. No good at all.
Definitely no. I can't be dealing with that. It's that last game, the 3 each one at Hampden, and then the penalty shootout. I was saying that to Terry last week. I've said in my time as a season ticket, I've had 3 penalty shootouts in person that I've saw, and they're all right to watch on TV, although they are nerve-wracking when your team's involved. But in person, Jesus Christ, man, you just don't know where to look, honestly. You're like, what did I do? Because we're so bad at penalties as well over the years, and you've got to watch a penalty shootout. But I've had the Spartak Moscow game.
That's the only one I've been to.
I had Rangers in 2016, which of course the less said the better, and obviously the Aberdeen game last season, and it's a hard watch in the stadium. Oh god, I mean Joe Hart stepped up in that one last season. Oh man, I mean the headlines were written definitely in Joe Hart's head. The headlines were written. So if we find ourselves in a penalty shootout, I hope
by him wearing his goalie gloves at the time.
Mad.
You tried writing with a pen wearing goalie gloves.
But in the chat, loads of people are coming in with very, very confident scores. 4-1, 4-0. There's a 2-1, 3-1. We've got another 4-1 there. Graham Tyrrell, 4-0 easy, 3-1. Yeah, it seems to be. Paul McFarlane, 3-1, 3-1. Yeah, a lot of big scores, 4-1, 4-2. So, yeah, wins all round for Celtic. So, yeah, as long as you get the job done, they're in that final. That's all that matters. And who are we going to play in the final for there, Russell? Who's it going to be?
Motherwell, I think. Will be in the final. Yeah, I think that it's not being. I mean, it's fun to be able to predict that, but a genuine prediction would be that's the sort of end of his reign, sort of coming to a close. It will be a cup. Like it's they're their own. They architect their own whole downfall themselves. Do you know what I mean? They put unrealistic expectations after a few wins by the new manager. They're the revolution. Then they get sort of bedded in and they realise they're not actually that good. Then they turn on them quicker than, you know what I mean, you could ever imagine any of my ex-birds did. and that is them up shit creek again. This is the time of year. This is when it happens. I think there's a perfect storm brewing for them, like definitely. But there's the judge, and he says 2-1 Celtic as well.
Aye, it's all confidence in the chat. So yeah, we'll head off now. Enjoy the game tomorrow, wherever you watch it, whether on TV, it's on Premier Sports, because obviously it's the Premier Sport Cup. Why wouldn't it be? And of course, if you're going to Hampden as well, like myself, then yeah, enjoy it. And yeah, we'll PMP tomorrow about 5:30 kick-off. So let's try to do the maths here.
8 o'clock, I think.
Somewhere around that neck of the woods. Aye, so
Saturday night, 8 o'clock. Me and Terry.
It's going to be box
Bring
office.
your hard hats.
Get hitting that subscribe button so you won't miss that one, folks, because it will be a slobber knocker of a PMP, I'm sure. But yeah, we will head off now. Thanks for joining me, Russell, seeing as Liam got disconnected about 20 minutes to go. So it was good that you were here to actually help me talk. I can't do it myself. I can't talk to just myself, unfortunately. So thank you very much for being here, mate. And yeah, we'll head off, folks. Enjoy the game tomorrow and enjoy PMP when it's on tomorrow. And come on, the Celtic. No messed about tomorrow. Get the job done, boys. Right, we'll see you later, guys. See ya.